All right. Good afternoon, Leigh. How are you today?
Good. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for allowing me to record this portion of our interview. We spoke early this morning and had a really good chat about some of your experience, about some of the different roles that I'm hiring for, and a little bit about what you're looking for. So, what I'd like to do now is I'm going to ask you a few questions and we'll go from there. So, my first question is going to be it looks like you were working in HR for Winn-Dixie, and you've worked in HR for a private country club. So why don't you tell me a little bit about what you did at those positions?
So when I was with Winn-Dixie, I started out as an HR generalist, basically recruiting and doing human resources related work for the departments that I supported. So I didn't actually work in the store. I was working at their corporate headquarters in Jacksonville, Florida. So basically that consisted of their merchandising department, their marketing department, their some of their little bit of their like logistics department, but mostly it was marketing and merchandising and procurement, working with retail buyers that worked in their corporate office. So it's basically handling all their employee relations issues, all their recruiting, all of their workers' comp, basically anything that fell underneath a generalist umbrella, and also from time to time, it was like senior manager and like director, and anything basically higher than that, I reported into a director who handled those issues with more C-level executives.
Sure.
And while I was there, I basically started as a generalist and then got promoted to a manager. And then at the end of my tenure there, I basically moved into more of an employee relations role where I was handling a lot of employee relations issues with the people at the corporate office. So that's basically what I was doing for them while I was there. After that, by the time I left, they had filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy reorganization. So, and I also had my child at that time. So I left, and that's when I moved into working for a country club in Jacksonville. At first as a part-time person, then went full-time as their HR manager. And obviously it was a very different environment, much smaller environment. And basically was just handling the same type of work, HR generalist / manager work for that type of environment, which is basically handling doing all their recruiting, bringing in all of their hires, which consisted of people that work on the golf course, that people that work in their kitchen, could be anything from banquet servers to people that work at their summer camp in the summertime. And with that, doing all their employee relations issues and doing a lot of their workers' comp issues, being the workers' comp administrator, the COBRA administrator, and administering benefits.
Okay, great. And then you moved into an employee relations role?
Right. I did that for Children's Home Society of Florida. And then, and with them, I may have to pause this just 1 second.
Yes, of course. Go ahead.
I may have to move because just give me 1 second.
Yep, go ahead.
Sorry about that.
That's quite all right.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Times doing this from your home. I have a small dog. I thought he was going to start barking. Anyway,
I have a dog too, and he loves the mailman.
Yeah. So basically,
we were talking about the employee relations role.
Right. So when I moved into that role, that was working for a non-for-profit, and it's based out of Orlando, but I worked for them in Jacksonville and then also in Volusia County. And basically what that was doing was just doing employee relations work for them. And basically what they're comprised of is social workers, people who deal with state adoptions, and people who help children who are in foster care or
Sure.
they get put into foster care. So you're basically dealing with employees that are in-house, and all of them basically are social workers and
Mhm.
behavioral therapists. So I was basically handling all the employee relations issues that occurred with their social workers and behavioral therapists. And a lot of that was them doing, just following proper procedure. They do a lot of home visits. They do a lot of, meeting with adoption and foster care parents. And so that's basically what I was doing for them.
Okay.
So it wasn't as much generalist as it was more employee relations
Sure.
and then training. And like I did new hire orientation, benefits administration,
Mhm.
um, workers' comp if need be. And I did all their background checking. So that was, administrative as well, but and then a good portion of that was employee relations.
So, to recap, you have about 5 years HR experience, full cycle. Recruiting, onboarding, training, all that good stuff. That was between Winn-Dixie and then the private club, and then about a year experience as employee relations. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I have
And
stuff that's not on my resume, but that's kind of going way further back. So, you
sure.
know, we don't really have to include that. Um, but I basically, what's not on my resume is I basically as another generalist job and a recruiting job. So, so I've worked in like a lot of different types of environments. And so, when you had asked me, are you more into a really more ultra polished professional environment or more of a relaxed environment? I've never been in a manufacturing environment, but it's not really so much the environment as to what the focus of the job is for me. So I'm pretty flexible as far as, what environment I can assimilate into, basically, is the best way
Sure.
I'd put it.
So my next question to you is going to kind of tie everything all together. So something that we did talk about today is a role that I'm hiring for that's an assistant position. And my first question to you, if you remember, would be, with that grand experience, why would you be interested in going from that type of position to an assistant? But then when we started to dig a little deeper into your resume, we uncovered that it's been about 10 years or so since you did those type of roles, and you've kept your skills super sharp by doing a bunch of admin type of positions through temp assignments through several different agencies. So now that you're available to go back to work full time, that you have an adult child now, no longer a little one at home, that you're interested in kind of getting back into things, and you're willing to start here to be able to get that experience, and that's what you're looking for. So I don't want to speak for you, but that's just kind of a recap of what we talked about. Is there anything you'd like to add to that?
No, I mean, that's basically it. Like I said, I've been trying to keep up to date on like, changing employment laws. So I'm very much on, I sit on webinars on like LinkedIn and other HR forums and things like that, because I know that if I'm put into this role, you have to keep on top of that, um, the changing laws and things like that. So I've also, been a part of, a couple different, just like forums, online communities where they keep you abreast of different changes in state and federal law and that type of thing. So, I've done that as well. But you hit it right on the head. I mean, I know that I have to take a step back because, it has been a while. So no, that's well said.
Okay, great. All right. Well, Leah, I'm going to go ahead and stop this part of the recording, but don't go anywhere. We got a few more things to chat about.
Okay.